anybody interested in ancient history, in particular Roman history, I've found a pretty good source. Now, it's concerning the Roman military, and it was written by Flavius Vegetius Renatus, and it was written in the 4th century, so not particularly Rome's golden age, but it seems that he was trying to bring back a lot of the tactics and discipline and stuff like that of days gone by. Now, it brings up pretty much everything from selection, training, and tactics, and it's very well laid out. It's not particularly hefty read, so I'll leave a link below if anybody wants to read more, but I'll mention some of the stuff that I found particularly interesting. So to start off, selection. Now, he believed that a soldier should be recruited shortly after puberty, so they could at least undergo training then. But he thought that where a soldier came from was the most important aspect of selection, because he thought some nations were just more inherently warlike than others. But he thought that an army should mainly consist of peasants because, as he said, they were used to toiling in the sun and could go weeks without, or at least days without bathing. Now, of course, height was very important to him when selecting new recruits, but he also thought other things were important as well, like brawny shoulders, a narrow waist, long fingers, what he said were lively eyes, and he also said nervous legs, but I don't quite know what that means, I guess scrawny, and somebody who carries his head high. So they were sort of treated like animals in that regard, and to add insult to injury, he said that after training all soldiers should be given the military mark. Now at this point it was often a branding on the hand, but other reports say that soldiers were given a sort of early form of dog tag. And something I found interesting on names, soldiers had to have their own shield, they couldn't just mix and match, and they all had to write their names on the inside of the shield according to this, let's say, military handbook. As for basic training, he thought that things like running, leaping, and marching were all essential, but he also thought that swimming was essential. However, the reason he thought swimming was essential is because soldiers needed to bathe in rivers in order to boost their morale, and of course get clean. So they had to be able to swim in order to do this. But they also had an early form of weightlifting, essentially, and it was called the post exercise, and soldiers would have to lift their shield, which was woven with willow, and it was apparently incredibly heavy. Anyway, after basic training, of course, soldiers would have to maintain their fitness and discipline, and infantrymen would have to go on at least 3 marches a month of 10 miles, but they would have to maintain perfect step and order and do it all in full uniform. Cavalrymen would have to conduct very long exercises over miles as if they were retreating or advancing or whatever, and archers would have to practice hitting a twig, as he called it, from 600 yards pretty much daily. He then goes on in great detail about the uselessness of chariots and elephants, about where to set up camp and how best to do it, about maintaining troops' morale, about getting resources if you're defeated, and all that good stuff. So again, I'll leave a link below if any of you are interested in that.